Hey everyone, we got an emergency stream here. Not our usual time because there's an insane amount of volatility that we need to check in on. I'm Charting Man Dan. We're going to check in on the cryptocurrency space. And we just had a bunch of longs liquidate, pretty much a long squeeze. We know what a short squeeze is. Well, a long squeeze is the exact opposite. When everybody's on one side of the boat, when there's euphoria, we then have people over leveraging on the long side, and we can have a cascade effect, just like a short squeeze. A bunch of shorts stop out and we get a huge green candle. It's the exact opposite. A bunch of stops trigger, it's a waterfall drop, and there's significant slippage along with that. And right now we've got Coinbase, the exchange is down. And so there's no data on TradingView to be looking at as far as charting. So we're going to be looking at all Binance names here. And again, this is a temporary top being set in the cryptocurrency space as far as I'm concerned. I was a little bit early. 2 days ago, I thought the altcoin top was being set and Bitcoin got another leg up. That wasn't the case. And now, pretty darn confident saying the top is in for now, because what we usually get as a result of this amount of volatility to the downside and then a significant bounce is we look for equilibriums and tightening ranges. So we're going to look for these tightening ranges into the weekend potentially. And some of these coins like Sand had a 20% 4-minute drop. So again, the only way that you see that is market selling, triggering stops, triggering liquidations, and a cascading effect. And it just reminds you, oh yeah, there is a lack of liquidity in this crypto space overall, because again, you don't see, major liquid things drop that quickly. But on the flip side of the coin, you also don't see them go up that quickly as well either. So Bitcoin saw a nice break of 36,000 and got some higher highs, but again, I do believe a temporary top is in. And right now we're looking at, and keep in mind, temporary top just means, eventually we know weekly consolidation is inevitable, and we'll look for weekly higher lows because there's a lot of space for those weekly higher lows to form. Right now on Bitcoin, anything above 26.5 is a weekly higher low. So at this point, we're going to look for Bitcoin to bounce and set a 15-minute lower high. And then if we can confirm a 15-minute uptrend, we're going to zoom out. We're going to look for an hourly lower high. And then we're going to look for that tightening range into tomorrow. So that's what we're looking at in the short term. On the flip side of things, you also have reached a period at the low of these candles that, okay, there's nobody left to sell. There's nobody left to stop out. And so you do see some sizable bounces as a result. And that's pretty much crypto 2017 in a nutshell. You would dump huge, you would bounce huge, and considering playing bounces are one of my edges as a trader, it was just a playground to just be sitting cash and waiting for this and then just market buying when things get massively extreme and getting, 10% gains in 3 minutes. I can remember there's a distinct memory in my mind where I market bought Bitcoin with a very large position and literally was out 2.5 minutes later for an amount of money that was absurd and mind-numbing for me at that point in time. So 15-minute, we're scouting the lower high. Then we're going to scout a higher low. And eventually we're going to zoom out and scout an hourly lower high. Bigger picture, where do we stand? I mean, still a daily uptrend. Still going to look for a 4-hour higher low to try and be set. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a 4-hour tightening range into the weekend to then wait and see the direction that breaks. Some coins are holding on way better than others. Appreciate the likes and the shares as always. That keeps me coming on here in the middle of the day. So dominance, what happened? Well, the dominance spiked up as the altcoins dumped harder, and then the dominance dropped hard as the altcoins bounced harder. So we're watching the dominance to eventually set a weekly higher low, but need the dust to settle. What just happened in the last hour is we just shook everything up in the crypto space, and now the snow globe flakes are settling, and everybody's taking a deep breath. And so looking at crypto stocks, then we're going to get into the altcoins. So we have crypto stocks like Coin with a big gap up. They had huge days. I mean, Riot was up 15%, MARA was up 20%, and now these names are down 13% plus from their highs. Coin was a cup and handle, a pretty good one here, where we had resistance, we failed resistance, but it was a bull flag, and then the big time breakout today. Zooming in, we're going to look for an hourly higher low to form. So it's not game over just yet, but on some of these other names like Riot, bears are absolutely just patiently waiting. I mean, this is, bull break into consolidation, bull break into consolidation, bull break into consolidation. Not what bulls want to see. And bears are going to be scouting hourly lower highs on these crypto stocks to be the most likely result of the next bounce. And again, just an all-out dump from that Riot euphoria up at the highs. So ETH, bulls are extremely pleased. Bulls could not be more happy with where we stand right now in Ethereum, considering what just took place in the last hour. That's a major takeaway. And we had a bull flag confirm. There was a headline for, grayscale filing for ETH, whatever. I don't know if it was an ETF or what, but essentially, if Bitcoin gets an ETF confirmed, we know ETH is going to be next. Bottom line is that news led to a 2-hour big time breakout. And now the reaction to that bearish drop, extremely healthy. If I'm looking at just ETH, I don't think anything's going on in crypto right now. This is just normal price action for me. Yeah, we broke out, we pulled back, we're holding EMA 12, we're holding the gains. And the biggest factor here is ETH BTC is now breaking bull. So we had one more touch of support, we double bottomed at this base, and now the weekly bounce is a lot more convincingly underway. And we're still going to watch for a potential weekly lower high, but very clearly ETH has gained more significantly against Bitcoin in the last few hours than it has at any point in the last lots of weeks. This is the fastest gaining of ETH compared to Bitcoin, first on the move up, and then on the fact that Bitcoin dumped and ETH did not. So now the question is this a long-term ratio bottom? Can we confirm the first weekly uptrend in ETH BTC in a long time? That's going to remain to be seen. But again, one of the most major takeaways for what just happened is ETH bulls are just fine still. Link had a massive move up the last couple of days. And we had the Trader Pro alert system fire off yesterday, weekly super stack. And weekly super stacks do not fire often. And what it means is we are extended on RSI levels on the weekly, daily, 12-hour, on every time frame from the weekly on down. And the only time it's fired, I guess I should pull it up, but the only time it's fired on Bitcoin, it was a good longer term signal. So let's just look at Bitcoin. So here's Link on the weekly time frame firing a super stack. And again, it does not happen often. We've only had this alert system for a few years, but just looking at when it fired on Bitcoin, it was on the bear side of things when we were at extremes. I got to go to Coinbase here. ABC. Alphabets are hard. Oh, and Bitcoin just fired a weekly as well. So we can see the weekly was near that climax bottom, and now we have a bull weekly. And let's see, is that going to, we'll see. We'll see if that leads to weekly consolidation. For me, that just means take some profit. So yesterday, the message was, hey, Link, great move. Probably a good idea to take some profit into euphoria. It's perfect timing. Last night, I got the first text from a friend about crypto on this season. And they were asking me about, hey, someone told my wife all about Ripple. And what do you think about it? So just all these things aligning, telling us this is euphoria. It's a good idea to take some profit. So for Link, again, weekly time frame, just fine. We know it's inevitable that we're going to see weekly consolidation eventually. This is certainly looking like a volume climax candle. Still 7 hours to go. And again, it shows both sides battling. We've got a wick up for the bulls. We got a wick down for the bears. And it shows us high volume, and both directions are represented in that candle. And Link is going to be looking, again, we're going to watch for a 15-minute lower high here. We're going to see if we can confirm a 15-minute uptrend. Then we zoom out, scout an hourly lower high, and watch for an hourly equilibrium into tomorrow. That's what I'm looking for in the short term. 15-minute top, 15-minute uptrend confirming, hourly lower high. If I had to guess what the most likely path forward here is in the short term, that's what I'd be looking for. And again, overall, long term, Some longs got liquidated on Link, but look at the 12-hour chart. We're still just fine. So bears will have proving to do to follow through. And the low of these flushes on these coins are pretty much our confirmation. So I just said, you know, temporary tops are in for now. And if we tighten up into these equilibriums as anticipated, and if we hit fresh lows, whether it's tomorrow or over the weekend, that's pretty much the confirmation. Yep, tops in for now. Watch for potentially even weekly consolidation. But for now, it's a new benchmark level. That's, you know, these two levels are the levels to be watching until one of them breaks. And Sol, same thing. Sol got right up, just got that bull break, big flush down. So all these stops got triggered under that base of support just above 42. And again, same deal. Nice 15-minute bounce. Look for a top. If we confirm a 15-minute uptrend, we zoom out. We scout an hourly lower high and then an hourly tightening range as most likely. So bears still have to follow through. I mean, again, the names that were strongest leading into this liquidation are still holding on just fine, which is why, I mean, you know, so holding 12-hour EMA 12. Look at the guide that this EMA has been. This is one of the reasons why I love these EMAs. EMA 12 on the 12-hour, holding every test this entire move up for the last almost 3 weeks at this point. And so that has to change. So the simple statement now is the longer-term time frames are fine for Sol if that low holds. But if we break it, tops are in for now. And so again, you can go down the list here because some names are obviously much weaker than others. Sushi gave us a nice 15-minute climax top yesterday. Yesterday at the same time, I was looking for a Sushi climax top and a Link climax top on the hourly. Sushi played out. Link did not. But again, we're scouting the 15-minute lower high. Eventually, we're scouting the hourly lower high. And Sushi's daily chart looks very different. You know, Sushi is way off of its high because it ran so hard so fast. And technically, Sushi is now in a daily downtrend. Not many altcoins are in daily downtrends. Sushi is. Looks like Sand had a big old bounce. So again, once you liquidate and hit that bottom, there are definitely big gains to be had on the bounces as well. Now we look for the lower highs. Why do we normally form lower highs here? Think psychologically what's going on. Everybody that didn't stop out and didn't have a stop in place says, oh geez, I can't believe we just dumped that hard and that fast. I want to exit some of this position now. This is their second chance to sell this bounce. And then of course, people that played the bounce only for the 10% gains in an hour, they're selling some position as well. That's why we set the lower highs. Then when we pull back, what's going on? Why do we hold the lows? Well, longs say, I got a clear support level to play off of. Shorts lock in their 10% gains from the lower high, and then we form a higher low. And then we just tighten up as the supply and the demand balances out. And then we look for the equilibrium to break to tell us which direction supply and demand gets the lean. So again, just keep an eye on, you can make a list right now. Names still holding 12-hour EMA 12 support and names that have lost it. That's a good distinguisher from names that are still holding strong and names that are significantly weaker. And so let's just go down the list real quick here. Sushi is under it. Ape lost it. Sand is trying to hold it, but probably going to lose it. ICP, same deal. RNDR is under it. RNDR just confirmed a daily downtrend. Yep. Weekly consolidation on RNDR underway. On this kind of bounce, this is the kind of bounce where it's really hard to play. If you've got orders set, some of them probably filled way too early. And again, it's the kind of thing where in 2017, I'm sitting there and just market buying. Well, ideally limit buying, but sometimes it just goes so fast that you just got to market buy, and there's definitely slippage. But if we're about to bounce 10% in an hour, slippage of 1 to 2% is still worth it. Algo. So pretty much all the names that are at the bottom of the red list today are potentially losing 12-hour EMA 12, and all the names that are still green are still holding 12-hour EMA 12. Matic still holding fine. Sol still all right. As we know, ETH is still fine. ADA is still holding on. Binance still holding on. So it's not the end of the world, but we now know to be watching for hourly tightening ranges. And again, we're going to get a lot of the next most important short-term information that we're going to get into this weekend is which breaks first, the FOMO climax high that we hit this morning or the liquidation flush low that we just hit. Those are the two levels that are going to dictate probably the weekly charts into the second half of November. All right. And also, relation to the broader market has been going straight up for 8 or 9 days. And now I'm watching to see, is this a little indication for the broader market that some of this euphoria is fading? We'll see. Bears still have proving to do there. All right, Grandpa Rock, shut up. You're gone. So now reading the chat room. And we'll see if, is Coinbase back yet? Looks like it is. All right, we're back in play. Bitcoin's a 15-minute stair-step drop. We're going to look for a bounce and a 15-minute lower high. But again, this was just a snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity moment to just snap us out of that euphoria and remind us consolidation happens too. Polar Bear Man got some bounces. That's awesome. Rune. So again, Rune, we're scouting the 15-minute lower high. Then we're going to scout a 15-minute higher low. It is a very significant bounce off the lows. Almost 20%, 15% plus. 12-hour EMA 12 is holding. So again, got to lose that for things to change. We want to find something on the chart where we can say, this has held the entire move. When it's lost, something's different. And that's 12-hour EMA 12 for so many names over the last 2 to 3 weeks. And Rune is the same. Rune bulls keep full control if that is support. And this is one of the better bounces. Still going to look for the tightening range, but we are now well off that low and certainly going to look for a 15-minute higher low on consolidation. Sushi is one of the weaker names right now. So yes, it has volatility as well, but its bounce was 10% versus some names bouncing more. The key difference for Sushi is it's a daily downtrend. So there's tons of names that aren't even close to being a daily downtrend right now. So again, just differentiate. Just remind yourself that Link is, what does Link need to be in a daily downtrend? We need to drop for days. We need to bounce for a couple days. We need to drop for days. It's just not even close to happening with the current setup. But again, this is a climax kind of candle. Doge. And that's the other thing. We always know the junkiest coins, the dash to trash. I saw a post, I forget, I wish I could give someone a shout out. But on Twitter, they said, Pepe is pumping. You know what that means? Look for the dump. And that's just the way that the cycle goes. Bitcoin to altcoins. Usually it goes BTC to ETH to altcoins. That changed this time around because of ETH weakness. But Bitcoin to altcoins to junk coins, and then look for temporary tops. Litecoin never really got its turn this time, did it? Not really. But anyways, so Pepe, top into the drop, 15-minute lower high, then we scout the higher low. If that tightening 15-minute range breaks bull, we zoom out, we scout the hourly lower high, then the hourly higher low. I am 90% sure that that is how 90% of these coins are going to tighten up into tomorrow. Or into, tomorrow. One moment, just blocking clouds. Why did alts dump like that? Because everybody was bullish. People longed into leverage. And it's, again, the exact opposite of a short squeeze. That was a long squeeze. Ran from crypto banter, calling Pepe Pump is the top. It was a good one. So again, when this kind of volatility happens, everything's going to do the same thing to a certain degree. Some things are going to do it stronger. Some things are going to do it weaker. And we can look at bounce retracement. Compare the XRP bounce retracement on the 15-minute time frame versus Rune. They're a night and day difference. XRP just bounced 40% retracement. Rune just bounced 70% retracement. That's how you can compare individual names. So XRP, we're just looking for the 15-minute lower high, which is now set. Now we're looking for the 15-minute higher low. If we confirm the 15-minute uptrend, we zoom out, we scout an hourly lower high. Is the correlation between miners becoming more in line with Bitcoin over IWM? Today it was, yes. Today the miners played catch up, but again, gave it all back. IWM has been weak all day, but yeah, we saw a gap up and, you know, a mini pump on those names first thing in response to Bitcoin higher high. And again, that's why some people just give up on correlation, because they change so oftenly. It's like the wind. It's there for a couple days in a certain direction and then it changes. And it's us full-time traders that, you know, rely on that signal and watch it shifting and get useful information that really pay attention to those correlations and how they are shifting. Yep, Ripple is a company, XRP is the coin, yep. Whatever is my opinion. TAO, yep, we'll look at that in just a second. So TAO is not listed on many exchanges. Double top with the high of yesterday. Looks like a little head and shoulders. Well, let's see, 4-hour downtrend. No, it's still called an uptrend. So we're looking a little toppy, looking like daily consolidation might be shaping up. We'll scout a daily higher low, watching EMA 12. Actually looks like we've been holding 12-hour EMA 12 as well. So that's the next target. Watch the response to 12-hour EMA 12. And we did just confirm an hourly downtrend. So we zoom out to the 4-hour. We know that the likely result of the next bounce will be a 4-hour lower high because of the size of this pullback. If this 4-hour is a head and shoulders and confirms a 4-hour downtrend, we zoom out to the 12-hour and we will then be testing 12-hour EMA 12. So I would be watching for a 4-hour higher low to try and form compared to 122s, and then a 4-hour lower high compared to 149. And the next question into tomorrow is, do bears confirm a 4-hour downtrend as a result of the next bounce? If it does, that will further indicate daily consolidation is coming. Let's check back in on Bitcoin real quick. Still struggling for the 15-minute bounce. So again, this is a wake-up call. Bulls are taking their second chance for taking profits on these bounces. And we're scouting the hourly lower highs to be the result of next bounces, especially on these crypto stocks as well. MARA, bears are just patiently waiting for an hourly lower high to short. Absolutely. The thing you have to consider with MARA, so I'm being asked about MARA as an investment, is dilution. If you do not understand dilution, Google ChartGuys dilution and watch that video, and then Google a lot about dilution, because dilution and the share structure of MARA matters way more than what Bitcoin's doing. in terms of the long-term performance of this name. And we have had multiple instances of dilution since the summer, and that is a factor as to why right now we need a 100% move to get to where we were when Bitcoin was trading at 31,000. Bitcoin went 20% over this level, and we are 50% under that level. And that's because of dilution, and it's because of IWM weakness. So the only way that you are investing in any companies is if you understand dilution, you're reading their balance sheet and financials, you understand what their convertible debt is, you understand what's their cash flow like. Are they going to have to issue more shares in the near-term future to keep that cash flow coming if they don't have significant profit? These are things that are going to determine the long-term success of an investment. You can't just say, I think Bitcoin's going to all-time highs, so I want to be an MARA. It's a factor for sure. It's not the most important thing. If MARA today has 50% more shares, if MARA, let's say Bitcoin hits all-time highs in 6 months. Let's just say that's a hypothetical. And if MARA has 50% more shares than it does now, it's going to significantly underperform Bitcoin. So that's the most important thing. I used to lose a bunch of money investing before I got into technical analysis, and then I understood what convertible debt and dilution was, and it significantly changed the way I approach markets, and it stopped me losing money. Tutorial on using TradingView? No, there's a bunch of those out there. I'm not going to make one of those. We have a couple of them. Google ChartGuys TradingView. I think Jungle Funk Joey made a few of those. Yeah, they're out there. How do you know when to short Bitcoin? I mean, shorting into this strength is extremely difficult, but we could say right now, after today's action, what's the probability of lower highs forming on these coins versus at any point in the last couple of weeks? It's way higher now. And that's why I often say, we don't need to nail tops and bottoms. We can wait for one side to prove something to us. And today is the bear saying, hey, we're proving something. And so now bears are way more confident scouting an hourly lower high here on these bounces than at any point in the last week or two. This is the wake up bear signal, and now we're going to see if they follow through. That's a mindset as well, back to dilution. If they've already diluted, they're less likely to dilute in the near term. Yeah, that can make sense. But also, when I don't know anything about the specific fundamentals, but when do the convertible shares become due? When do they start actually selling? Because the thing with dilution is you announce the headline, the market dumps to price in these new shares that are going to be hitting, but then you have the actual shares hitting the market. Is that in 5 years from now and it doesn't matter? Or do they become free trading at a certain price or after 6 months and then they start acting as supply? There's a lot of nuances to it. All right. I appreciate the likes and the shares and all that. I've got to run. I'm going to be on Crypto Sin City in an hour and a half. I was on earlier this morning with Scott Melker. Got a lot of stuff going on today, so I got to dip out here. But again, watch the 15-minute tightening ranges. If they break bull, scout the hourly lower highs and then hourly tightening ranges. And then we'll take it from there. I appreciate you all watching. Stay protective. This is why we walk up stop losses. It's always a reminder that we know euphoria comes to an end. The harder the euphoria up, the harder the drop. But again, determine what time frame is most important to you. We know weekly higher lows are the most likely scenario on most everything. It's just a question. The question for the next few days, is this the weekly consolidation shaping up now? Love y'all. Do good things.